What's going on, guys? We in here. We are in here. We are in the building. Let me go into the Discord right now. We have a lot to talk about. This is not going to be an E3 stream discussion. This is solely about Zelda. So, yeah, we're going to keep it just specifically about Zelda. I know it's been a while since I've been streaming. Sorry about, I got things on all over the place. Too much things going on in the in my life right now. So streams and uploads are gonna be slow for the month of June, but come July, we back on track with a lot of things that we're gonna be back on a constant streaming thing. We're gonna be constantly uploading new videos. There's gonna be a video that I'm gonna upload. It's gonna be about the entire makeup of the channel. There's going to be a huge change to the channel because there's going to become a huge change to me, but I'm gonna leave you guys with all of that. That's not important right now. What we want to focus on right now is this Breath of the Wild sequel. That's what we want to focus on right now. So, and I'm gonna we're gonna get into this right now because that trailer implicated so many things. But for those of you guys who are new to the channel, who's and has never seen any of my work or anything like that, it is very important for you guys. After this video, I'm gonna leave it somewhere in the the what's the word for this thing here, the end card, and at the end of the channel of this video, because I'm gonna have this uploaded, I'm gonna leave where you can get a link to the original video where I go over what I call TriForce Historia. It's my theory of what the streamlined timeline of the Legend of Zelda lore is. Then you have Hyrule Historia. So there's old videos that I have. If you look at this thing here, this is me at Nintendo Kate's house with Nintendo Evelyn. That's C&D behind the camera, and I do an entire timeline. It's a streamlined timeline where in this video I go through the entire Legend of Zelda timeline in 15 minutes, and I put out the order of the games, how the timeline breaks, how it comes back, the details, the sword is the key of time, all of that other stuff. But you guys can check that all out. I'll leave the link in the description. You can check out the card that's going to come up here right now, and then you can check out the end of the video later on. It talks about the divergence in time, the convergence in time, all that good stuff. So don't worry, you guys can check all of that out at a later date. We'll even reference a lot of that timeline in this stream that we're going to be having, where we're going to do about 60 to 90 minutes. It's going to be about an hour to an hour and a half of this big time discussion, and we're going to have some guys in the Discord come in and chime in with their thoughts on the whole timeline and the whole 9 yards. Now, you guys looked at the thumbnail. First thing you saw at the thumbnail was, it says the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild theory. And if you look at the screen right now, I have the static screen because this is very important for you guys to see. Very important for you guys to see. Clearly, this is Ganon Dragmire. No, Ganondorf Dragmire, right? I don't think that's even an opinion. That's a fact. Now, to me, based off, because I have the TriForce Historia timeline, and then there's the official Hyrule Historia timeline. Based on the Hyrule Historia timeline, this will be the original Ganon Dragmire body. But in the TriForce Historia timeline, which is my timeline, it could be either the original Ganondorf's body, or it could be Ganondorf Dragmire II. Now, you're like, what? What do you mean by the second? So we gotta pull it all the way back to the beginning. Let's go back when they had the red and black lumberjack with the hat to match. So in my timeline theory, this is the TriForce Historia. Stick with me here. I'm going to try to do this in less than 5 minutes. The first game you have, which is the beginning of the entire saga, is the song you hear in the background right now, Skyward Sword. Then you come to a point in time, which it's kind of funny how this name is fitting, Ocarina of Time. This is called a divergence. This is a point in time that exists twice, because when Link uses the key to go into the future, which he creates a divergence in time. And so Ocarina of Time happens twice. There are two versions of Ocarina of Time. One where Link goes into the future and he creates timeline B, which then spawns Wind Waker, Phantom of the Hourglass, Spirit Tracks, Minish Cap, and then a game called oh my goodness, what's the name? Four Swords Adventures for the GameCube. We're gonna stop right there because that timeline, the second timeline, ends at that game. We'll get to, you can get all the details on this when you watch that video that I put in the description later on, or at the end of this entire stream that you'll be able to see later on. Let's go back now to Ocarina of Time Divergence A. When Zelda sends Link back in time to warn Zelda about what Ganon's going to do, by warning Zelda and Zelda now giving Link the Ocarina, it changes the prime timeline. So a second Ganon exists. This now timeline goes on to Link going to Majora's Mask, which then he comes back from Termina. He has to regrow up all over again. He's the hero of time. The next game after Majora's Mask is, what's the name of this game? Hyrule Warriors. That Link you see in Hyrule Warriors is Teen Link all over again. Regrown. Because he had to do it again because Zelda sent him back in time, so he had to grow up as a kid again. Then after that game, what's the name of this thing here? Hyrule Warriors. That Link, which is the hero of Time Link, which is the hero of Time Link twice, because in Hyrule Historia, Link has to stop the paradox from happening. That Link is forgotten and becomes the hero of Shade. And that's when you get Twilight Princess. After Twilight Princess, you come to The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past / Four Swords. Right? And the reason why it's / Four Swords is because this is where something in the Zelda timeline, in my timeline, called the TriForce Historia, where the convergence happens. I don't want to go through too much details about that. You guys can check the video at the end of this stream, and you'll see the video will explain the whole thing about the convergence and my theory on that whole stuff. After this game, then you have The Legend of Zelda, A Link Between Two Worlds, which is, that's not the same Link. It's just further on down in the timeline. After that, then you have you have Triforce Heroes. Then after that, you have Oracles of Seasons, Ages, and Time, if you count the Japanese version. Then you have Link's Awakening. And then you have Zelda 1 and 2. Now, it's important that we stop at Zelda 1 and 2 for the NES, because this is the end, well, nearly the end of my timeline, where Ganon Dragmire's body is physically destroyed. Literally, physically turned to ash and destroyed. So with his body being destroyed, right, all that's left is his ashes. When you play Zelda 2, right, that little elf at the end of the game, I consider that to be Mido. Like I said, you got to watch that whole Zelda timeline thing I did, right, to get the whole story. Why do I think that's Mido? It explains everything, right? And Mido tries to return Ganon Dwarf Dragmire's body back by spilling Link's blood on his ashes. Now, you destroy the cocoon called the Thunderbird, which holds Ganon's ashes, as if, you know, that's the whole plot to get Ganon's body back, and then you defeat your shadow. Now, I have two theories here, and Nintendo could go with either one. Neither one does anything. It doesn't destroy anything about the timeline or my theory, because you could use either or. In Link's battle to destroy the Thunderbird, Link could have gotten injured and his blood was on the floor, right? And especially when he had to fight a shadow. He defeats the Thunderbird, he defeats a shadow, he gets the Triforce, he rescues Zelda, he leaves, right? Ganon's ashes are spilt all over the place because the Thunderbird's being destroyed, and the wind blows. and his ash touches Link's blood, and the screen goes black. So this would then suggest that the original Ganondorf Dragmire's body returns. Now this is at the end of my timeline, so this is the end of the Legend of Zelda, which is why Zelda 2 is not called the Legend of Zelda. It's called Zelda 2: The Adventures of Link, because the legend is over. After the Legend, Zelda 2: The Adventures of Link, it's literally just the Adventures of Link. That's when you have the cartoons, right? Which that could be a completely different Link, or it could just literally be the Link from the Zelda 2 game, which I think it is, because they both have brown hair, etc. They have the short sword version of the Master Sword or the Magical Sword, whatever you want to call it, right? Then you have the CDI games. Yes, I know it's a very unpopular thing to even suggest, but I think if someone just remade the Zelda CDI games and just improve the cut scenes, tighten up the story a little bit, and upgrade the graphics, and put it on a Nintendo Switch as a downloadable DLC to replay. You know how like they do the Contra has the Contra collections. Nintendo was to do the Zelda collections or the CDI Zelda games remastered, and just do it all over again. If I ever become a programmer, I'm going to ask Nintendo for the license to redo it again, and I'll fix that for Nintendo, because that was a tragic situation for Philips CDI. But whatever. In these games and the cartoons, these are just adventures of Link. So you have the Wand of Gamelon, which is an adventure of Zelda. Then you have the Faces of Evil, which is an adventure of Link. But I want to focus on the final game in this series, which is called The Adventures of Zelda. And in that final game, Zelda is alone. There is no Link at all. Zelda has to go fight Ganon, and if you've noticed anything about any of the Zelda games after Zelda 2, right, for the CDI and even the cartoon, Ganon has no body. He's all spirit form, which it's really Demise, because that's the actual true version of Ganon. Dragmire was the host to Demise. And once again, I'm going to say this again, if you check out my other video, you'll notice I go through the whole story about Demise possessing Ganon's body. Demise is the Triforce of Power. Absolute power corrupts absolutely, which corrupts Ganon. Ganon's not necessarily evil, but the power of Demise being in him, or the Triforce of Power, corrupts him. Without the Triforce of courage and without the Triforce of wisdom, the courage to know wisdom, he cannot control power. So it absolutely corrupts him, which creates the pig, the demon form, blah blah blah. So in reality, Ganon's actually supposed to be a noble king of the Gerudos, but the Triforce of Power absolutely corrupts him. So after Zelda, right, on the CDI, there's a 10,000 year time gap skip. This is a part of the Triforce Historia timeline, which the final game in my timeline is Breath of the Wild. So this is 10,000 years into the future. So Breath of the Wild is actually cut away from the old timeline, and I prefer it this way because it gives Nintendo a good opportunity to start fresh, still using the core lore as a foundation of the Zelda legacy, right? And this is so the Zelda that you see and the Link that you see in Breath of the Wild is a descendancy that happens 10,000 years into the future. But prior to that happening, so this is after all of those old Zeldas and old Links and whatever and stuff like that, right? Two things can happen. So either that's the old Ganon revived by his blood spilling on the ashes, or because Ganon Dragmire officially died in Zelda 1, his body was officially destroyed. According to Gerudo lore, every 1,000 years or every 10,000 years, depending on which version of the story you understand, it doesn't make a difference, another Gerudo king is born. Now, follow me on this. This Ganon can be the not the reincarnation, but the descendant, the second Dragmire. So it's a new king for the Gyarados. So this would be Ganon Dwarf Dragmire the second. And without the Triforce of Power corrupting this Ganon is noble. Which is why in Kasa's song, 10,000 years, well, actually it would be 100 years. It wouldn't be 10,000 years. 100 years in the Breath of the Wild thing, or I think it's 10,000 years. I have to double check. That picture isn't Link, but that's Ganon Dragmire, the first or the second, depending, right? In my opinion, because we don't know, so this is all real, like just straight theory. If they're gonna use the original Ganon Dragmire, I would then plausibly create the theory that Ganon's ash touched Link's blood in Zelda 2, and that's how Ganon's body came back, but he came back without the Triforce of Power corrupting him, and then he was able to live his life out as a Gyarados and then whatever. But the only problem with this is that Ganon would have to have outlived that long, unless the Triforce of Power was in him. But then in the cartoon and the CGI and the blah blah blah, so you see the problem here. So that would be something I would have to see how Nintendo would make Ganon, the original Ganon Dragmire, a part of that story. Now if you follow the Hyrule Historia, which has a lot of plot holes in the timeline, you'd have to pick the timeline in which Ganon Dragmire's body isn't destroyed, and then that would be him. Which then, see, I don't like that because it breaks up the whole lore into segments, and so you'd have to find which timeline this fits in, and my timeline is more streamlined, which involves all the games and all the timeline. Now, if this is the future, and Ganon Dragmire, a new Gyarados, is born. Ganon Dwarf Dragmire the second is born. This Dragmire would know of his, I guess it would be, no, it wouldn't be his father, his ancestor, and he would know how wicked his ancestor is. And when Demise now, which is really just the Ganon without the body, right? When Demise comes to form or fruition, or whatever the case may be, give me 1 second, guys. Whoa, sorry. Sorry about that. Yeah, I had to put the song back on. So when Ganon Dragmire the second comes of age, and he hears about Demise and how Demise corrupted his ancestor Ganon Dwarf Dragmire the first, and how he's gonna get revenge, and he said it from in Skyloft, no, I will track your descendants down throughout the eons and whatever. Ganon Dragmire the second is like, he wants to atone for his ancestors' sins, and he helps Zelda fight off Demise. And they can't destroy Demise because Demise is the Triforce of Power. Power cannot be destroyed. It can only be contained. Is Dragmire an official name? Yes. Ganon Dwarf Dragmire is the physical Gyarados. That's his actual first and last name. His actual name is Ganon Dwarf Dragmire. That's his full name. When he turns into Demise or into the demon form, he's just called Ganon. But the spirit of that being called Ganon is Demise. Demise is the Triforce of Power, right? So, and without the other two Triforces, it will corrupt you absolutely. Demise would then be the calamity Demise is Calamity Ganon. That is in Breath of the Wild. That spiritual form that you see, that's Demise. That's always been Demise. Every time Ganon Dwarf Dragmire transforms into the pig form, that's Demise. That's who you see. That's when the power absolutely corrupts him. Ganon Dwarf is a host to maintain the Triforce within inside of him. But in any event, right? Where are we at now? So now this Dragmire wants to help. When they defeat Demise, right, or Calamity Ganon, right, which is the demise of Hyrule. Get it? Calamity Ganon, the demise of Hyrule, which that's the whole theme. Demise can't be held. So Ganondorf says the only way to stop Demise is to seal him. And then Zelda's like, how can I seal him? And Ganondorf Dragmire II says, seal him in me. And that's why Zelda puts Demise in Ganondorf Dragmire the first or second, depending on how Nintendo's going to go with this story. It is definitely Ganondorf and Dragmire. I just don't know if it's the first or second. I think it would be godlike if they just made a brand new Ganon, in my opinion. Like, this is the new Gerudo King. Where, so there's a time where you can play in the game where you're playing as a new Ganon. That would be ridiculous. So when Demise goes into the second Ganondorf's body, that Ganondorf gets the full history of his ancestor. Nintendo could do so many things with this. This would be godlike. Nintendo can go all over the place with this. From the imprisoning war, Zelda would turn into something completely... Yo, Anuma Miyamoto, stop playing these games. Call Reggie. He got my number. He got my email. Call me. I got y'all on the story, B. I got y'all on this story. Call me. Stop playing games. We already talked back in 2011, Anuma. You know what it is. Stop playing these games. Anyway, I'm feeling myself. Yeah, sorry about that. So now, Zelda seals Calamity Ganon in Dragmire the first or second's body and buries him under the castle. Now, let's go back to Dragmire the first, right? I did a stream called The Excavation of Hyrule. I'll put that in the Zelda section of our YouTube so you guys can take a look at that. And we were showing how, like, the Great Plateau, which had the original Hyrule Castle, and Hyrule Castle are from the maps of Zelda 2, because you have the North Palace and then you have the Great Palace, and the Great Palace is on the Great Plateau and the North Palace is the Palace of Hyrule, right? It is kind of funny, but one could say that Ganon's body so much things to, oh my goodness, one can say that Ganon's actual, like, Ganondorf's body being resurrect, it could be, well, if they really wanted it doesn't make a difference which one they pick, so Nintendo can pick either one. I just think a second Ganon would be so hype, because then you get to see it from because there's like umpteenth amount of Links, umpteenth amounts of Zeldas. This is a brand new Link, that's a brand new Zelda. Why not get a brand new Ganon? Why not get a brand new Ganon? Well, we all know that clearly is Ganon Dragmire because of the crystal on his head. If you look at what Dragmire looks like, he has the same crystal on his head, the long red dead hair, all of that. We could just tell that's Ganon off that. But I believe that this is a secondary Ganon only for the simple fact that when you look at the story that Cass was talking about, that clearly was Ganon in the picture that helped her. That is not Link. That is not Link. That's for facts. That's what we know. That is definitely not Link. So Cataquack says, I never thought about the Triforce of Power just belonging to Demise. See, that's the thing, Cataquack. The Triforce of Power doesn't belong to Demise. Demise is the Triforce of Power. Zelda, you have to understand, the Triforce of Wisdom, the Triforce of Courage, they have their own sentient being amongst them. They, unlike the Triforce of Power, they simply chose a host. The Triforce of Wisdom chose Zelda. The Triforce of Power chose, no, Courage chose Link. Demise was just, I ain't picking nobody. I'm trying to rock. But when Demise was sealed, Demise had to pick a host in order for it to act through. Prime example of the Triforce of Power doing this. If you look at a lot of like, let's look at Zelda 3, A Link's Awakening. Ganon uses the Triforce of Power and uses it through Aghanim to help him. Same thing for Vaati and a lot of other enemies where Ganon was sealed and couldn't do anything, and he used his Triforce of Power through other enemies to help him. So why can't that be the same in this regard? So when Demise chooses Ganondorf Dragmire, you have to look at the situation. The King of Hyrule was very unfair to the Gerudo people. Ganon is not necessarily just a bad guy. There's a lot of politics in the game that's lightly implied. Why Ganon does what he does to go against the King of Hyrule. But let's take a look at some of you guys, what you guys are saying. So when Ganon gets possessed, he turned from brown to green. What are you talking about? What? I don't understand that, but whatever. Okay, yeah. Let me see something here. I'm going to check the Discord, see who's in the room with me. Okay, let me go get someone who said they was going to come in here. I'm going to read some of you guys' comments. Don't worry, I'm going to get to all of y'all. This is a lot to talk about. So, is it Ganon or Ganondorf? The human Gerudo, his name is Ganondorf. Right? When he turns into the pig, that's Ganon. Whatever that hand is, it dies because it sees it fading away. Yeah. So Cataquack says Ganondorf Dragmire II would have to reanimate through, I would imagine. Yes, Todd Freeman, what's up, man? Where did Demise come from? Demise is a Triforce of Power. That's where he came from. That's what it is. So was Ganon not destroyed at the end of Breath of the Wild? No, you cannot destroy Ganon or Demise. You can't destroy the Triforce of Power. You can only contain it. That's why they seal it. In every game, they always seal Ganon. You cannot destroy Demise. That's why Demise in Skyward Sword, Demise says, I will track you guys down and your descendants through the end of time. You can't destroy him, which is what makes this is the plot that makes Zelda so godlike, because you can't stop Ganon. You will always need a Triforce of Courage and Wisdom to come through an adventure to seal him, but you can't stop it. Are you going through the video Triforce? No. I don't want to go through the entire video. That's why I just left it on this thing. Lynx absorbs the green magic. Yes, he does. He does absorb the green magic. One second. A brand new villain would be dope. This is why I would love to see it be Dragmire II, because it would be godlike to see Dragmire versus Demise. No, Ganon is not the arm, the body. No, that's not the arm. This giving up was the mistranslation, I believe. The giving up was a mistranslation. Wait. So okay. Ink says, do you think the hand is sealing Ganondorf or resurrecting Ganondorf? I don't know. Like, this is just my theory of what we know. That's Ganondorf Dragmire. I'm saying that it would be godlike if that is the second Ganon. It's not the original Ganon from Hyrule story or even the TriForce story, which is my timeline theory, which I keep saying. You guys can take a look at the end of this video. You'll see the clip on it, or look in the description after the end of this video, because I will put the link in there for you guys to take a look. I just think that rather than recycling the old Ganon, it would be great to use a new Ganon and a descendant of Ganon, right? Because the first one was originally destroyed in Zelda 1. It would give, so they can give a new tale about Ganon and the tragic story of how Dragmire the second is cursed. He and all of his descendants are cursed to be the bodies that wield the Demise or Malice. I'm like, don't get me wrong, the game can come out and completely be wrong about this, because this is just me going off what I think would be great. I've seen a lot of different tweets and people saying, oh, that's Ganon Dragmire, and which I agree with 100%. A lot of Zelda fans know that that's Ganondorf. But whether we know that's Ganondorf the first or perhaps the second is two different things. And I think it would not surprise me if when the game comes out, that's Ganon Dragmire the second. And if it is, you've heard it here first from TriForce, who did TriForce Historia. You've heard it here first. I'm just letting everyone know this right now. Let me read some of this stuff. All right. But my question is, what is the green magic? That I do not know. Demise is Akuma. Thank you. Actually, you see, Shun the Waker. That's a good reference. Goki is the human being. Akuma is the demon that's in Goki. You cannot destroy Akuma. You can't. Wait, no. Wait. Goki is the demon. Akuma is the human. I'm sorry. I stand corrected on that. Yeah, I had that backwards. But you get the point that I'm saying. So Demise is the demon that's in Ganondorf Dragmire. All right. So let's see here. All right. What does it do? Okay, healer. All right. So should we play both Zelda and Link? It would be great if you could play as Zelda or Link. At first I thought the green magic was like from the Twilight Tribe and the Twilight Princess. That would be great. Gix Gaming. TriForce, there's a scene where it shows Ganondorf getting his soul sucked. Ganondorf physically getting his soul sucked? I know the shadow. I know what you're talking about. You're talking about that shadow off the wall, right? If you're talking about the shadow off the wall, we don't know if that's a flashback to the past of what happened to Ganondorf Dragmire. We don't know. That could be it. So that good eye, Gix. That could actually be what that is. Is the hand of the monks of the shrines? Perhaps. You think this is Gerudo Ganon's origin story, since Breath of the Wild takes place pre-Ocarina of Time? Well, that's if you're following the Hyrule Historia timeline, which I don't. I follow the TriForce Historia timeline, which Breath of the Wild is at the end of the timeline, not at the beginning. Let's see here. I think the hand is going against Ganondorf because the hand dies. Alright. It's clear two separate powers are in effect. Oh wow, we got a donation. Hold on for a second. Royalty says, since Demise can't be destroyed and the fight will continue throughout time, then will the world of Zelda eventually need to modernize? Yes, Royalty. The world would actually eventually have to modernize. Which, if you look at Breath of the Wild, which is why I say it doesn't make any sense for Breath of the Wild to be after Ocarina of Time. That's stupid. Because Breath of the Wild is a modernized... The world of Hyrule is being modernized. This Magitech technology. Number two, every reference, every version of Zelda, every game, location, all spots, Skyloft, everything that throughout the entire Zelda franchise is all in Breath of the Wild. How can you put that in the beginning of the game when none of those things existed if they're after Breath of the Wild. That doesn't make any sense. The only place for the timeline for Breath of the Wild to go is 10,000 years after the end of the timeline, which is where I put it. Like I said, at the end of this video or in the description, you can look. You're going to see my theory, the TriForce Historia theory. You can take a look at it, and it'll explain my entire timeline in 15 minutes. Gives you the 15-minute breakdown of the entire timeline, and I put all the games in order with the explanation how, what happens, etc., etc. And you'll find out that my version of the timeline has less plot holes than Hyrule Historia. Let's read on. Oh, we got to scroll back up. I hope I answered your question, Royalty. So let me see something here. Where are we? So then Demise is the Triforce of power, unrestrained when the Triforce separates, correct? Yes, because power and in and of itself is not inherently evil, but is rather chaotic. Exactly, that's why he's called Calamity Ganon. Because without the other two pieces of the Triforce, the chaotic power creates calamity. And the calamity would be the demise of Hyrule. So let me see something here. Huh? Oh. So let me see something here. What are you guys are saying here? Because it doesn't have a 2 to balance it out. Yes. Should the cycle of Demise end in a future game? No, Demise should never end, or there'd be no point to the legend. Alright, I'm thinking Link was taken and used to revive Ganon, the Ganondorf guy. Maybe now Zelda, looking more adventure ready, will save him. That would be great to play as Zelda to see what they did, because that Zelda fought with that Ganon Dragmire to defeat Demise 10,000 years or 100 years ago in the Great War. Well, no, it would be 10,000 years ago, because 100 years ago she was fighting with Link. So let's see here. What if in this game, instead of defeating Ganon, we save him? Spubby, that would be godlike. Alright. I'm thinking Link was taken, and I already read that. Looks like we the hand of the monks in the shrine. What if this game is okay? We read that. Random, but do you think the fierce deity holds any weight in the future of the series? Yes, that would be great to see the fierce deity get involved. Level head, it does. So Demise is a symbiote. Yes. What is the difference between Ganon and Ganondorf? Ganon is the demon of Demise. That Ganon is what happens when Demise power corrupts Ganondorf. I think Ganondorf is becoming a lich. Yeah, that would actually be cool. Alright, also I think it will take place underground, or at least most of it. Brandon, I think in this Breath of the Wild game, they're going to focus more on the dungeons, because clearly they're in a dungeon in the game. So the whole overworld and underworld, I think the Breath of the Wild 2 is going to have a huge focus on the underworld, which would be ridiculous. Holy smokes, when this game comes out, Nintendo's straight bopping everyone. No one's on Nintendo's level. They're just not on Nintendo's level. Wait, 1 second, guys. Let me start this song all over again. Yeah, there we go. Let me see something here. Okay. Also, I think it will take place underground. Yeah, we read that. How far into the future do you think this game will take place? Well, the thing with Breath of the Wild, I think Breath of the Wild can carry the entire Legend of Zelda series all the way to the next Nintendo system. There's no need for Nintendo to make a third Zelda game. I think Breath of the Wild, the sequel, should come out in 2021, and it should carry on for 3 years. Keep in mind, Breath of the Wild came out in 2017. And then the next sequel should come out in 2021, or at least late 2020. That's a 3-year difference. So if it comes out late 2020 or early 2021, right, then 3 more years from that, it's already 2024. Nintendo can start working on the next system. The hand does grab Link, and the energy comes up in time travel. Time travel may be an option. Time travel may be an option. So if there's 2 timelines, which one do most people believe in? Not saying yours is bad, just want to know. Well, KLM, if you get Hyrule Historia and you go through Hyrule Historia's timeline, it's really not timelines. It's more like multiverses. They're different universes or 3 separate different timelines independent from each other. Then there's a TriForce Historia, which is my timeline, which literally takes all of the games. This includes the cartoons and the CDI games and does one streamline, literally connecting the entire lore as one. And I use a Legacy of Kain theory. I use Skyward Sword as the beginning and Breath of the Wild as the end. And then in the middle, you have a timeline that takes you from the beginning all the way to the end seamlessly, all making sense. So let's take a look here. Also, in the trailer, the shadow of Ganondorf awakens shows light right after Link is grabbed by the hand, making me think he was used to revive Ganon. We need more. We need more on this, man. We need way more on this. But the reason why I don't think this is the original Ganon, because it doesn't make any sense. Well, they can write a story that would make sense. They can write somehow Ganon Dragmire, the original one, came back, and now that he doesn't have the Triforce of power in him, he's no longer corrupted, and he wants to atone for his sins, and he sees all the evil he does, so he tries to help the new Zelda. But the reason why I don't go with this is because this is a brand new Zelda, a brand new Link. Why use an old Ganon? That's why I don't think this is the old Ganon. It's like, why not just use a descendant of the original Dragmire? If you look at the Gerudo nation in Breath of the Wild, there's no King Gerudo there. The king is not there. So why not make a new king, Dragmire II? They don't even have to call him Ganon. He could be called something else. I just think Ganon Dragmire II would be godlike. But let's take a look here. So my friend showed me a screenshot of something from Twilight that has similar symbols on the body of Medea enriched in eldritch form to that symbol in the sequel trailer. Yes, this is true. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that's on Ganon's body that looks like the Ganon from Twilight Princess. Triforce makes more sense to me, and it's cool. Thank you, Orion. I thought the same thing. So it's like Final Fantasy. Where's the difference between darkness and evil? All right. Let me see something. Let's scroll down. Okay, so Ganondorf is basically an innocent man. He's just become the host and is being controlled by Demise. Yes, Brandon. Triforce, Anuma said during the Treehouse Live that this game will be darker than Majora's Mask. I believe it. I believe it. I believe it. Thank God. Yes, I hope. Oh, what's going on, Zuru? I hope we see mass salesmen for the Majora. Imagine if we see Ganondorf, Link, and Zelda fight Demise. Oh my God. That would be ridiculous. My wife is over here shaking her head. Wait, so at the end of the video, why does Hyrule Castle start to float or shake? Well, that we don't know. What exactly is Fierce Deity? Fierce Deity is in my opinion, this is what I think Fierce Deity is. If Demise is the spiritual incarnation of like, you know when Demise is in Ganon and Ganon transforms and he transforms into the pig, the Triforce of Courage is what Link would transform into when he's Fierce Deity Link. That's like what the expression of the Triforce of Courage would be. And Zelda would transform into the goddess Hylia if the Triforce of Wisdom were to transform her. So it would be like, if there was a cosmic version of the battles, it would be Fierce Deity Link, Hylia the goddess versus Ganon, Demise, and they could have a cosmic Dragon Ball Z oh my God! All right, calm down. Let's calm down. Calm down. Yeah, we're jumping way ahead here. It would be so godlike if at the end of the new Zelda game, that's who you fight as. You fight as your spiritual Triforce representations. You don't even fight as Champion Link or regular Zelda. You fight as Hylia Goddess, Fierce Deity Link, and Demise. And it would be like a cosmic battle using the Dragon Ball Xenoverse engine. See? Now we're jumping. All right, hold on. Calm down. The hypeness. Calm down. We're getting too hype here. We're getting too hype. We gotta calm down. Relax. Relax, Triforce. Relax. All right. Breath of the Wild was about surface exploration. Breath of the Wild 2 should be underground and dungeon explore. Well, the fact that Anuma said it's going to be darker, the only way you can make it darker is if you bring it underground. So you heard it from Triforce himself. Breath of the Wild 2 is going to... First of all, they show you the dungeon they enter. They show you that they're in some Lord of the Ring dungeon crossing under a bridge. So they're definitely underground. So it's gonna... Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be heavy dungeon based. Believe it. Ganondorf was never truly evil. He just became twisted by his ambitions. It's not Nimbus Hero. It's not that he became twisted by his ambitions. The Triforce of Power, or aka Demise, corrupted his ambitions. Power, absolute power, corrupts absolutely. What if the whole game is a giant dungeon that keeps on expanding? Who knows? Also, Triforce, did you notice where the Divine Beast in the trailer? Yes, I did. Let's scroll down. Let's get some more statements in here. The Divine Beast was missing completely. What's going on, Groundkeeper? Alright, so I don't think the trailer is showing us the proper order of events. No, they're not. Trust me, the trailer breaks up the order of events. The most important part of the trailer is this image that you're looking at on the screen right now. That's all that matters. This has so much implications. So much. Now, keep in mind, guys, the last Ganon with long hair is in, well, in my timeline, it would be Hyrule Warriors. That's the one where Ganon has the long hair. All of the other Dragmires had short hair. And this Ganon has long hair. I'm telling you, this is not the original Ganon. This is the descendant, man. Hands down, it's a descendant. It would surprise me if Nintendo made him the original. I think it's a descendant. Do you think Ganon should have a voice or stay quiet like Link? No, I think he should stay quiet. What if there are two Ganons like there were two Zeldas in Zelda 2? Yes, that, like I said, Orion, that's why I think this is a different Ganon. I think this is a descendant. What is the reason Ganondorf is brought back? Is because Link Zelda are looking for ways to undo the calamity? No, I think this is just a descendant of the original Ganon, who's a new king of the Guerreros, but he sacrificed himself in a fight 10,000 years ago with not the Zelda that you see here. There's a Zelda before this Zelda 10,000 years ago. That Zelda is who this Ganon helped. Okay, so I don't think it's in the timeline. What is the reasons on Ganon's brought to life and Zelda looking for ways to undo the calamity Ganon brought out of Hyrule? Okay. The Triforce of Power, and well, connect the dots from there. I love Zelda. Okay. Triforce, you are enthusiastic. Because this is Zelda. Are you kidding me? I think the masked salesman is the time traveler who travels between worlds and times. That's how he has such things as Mario. I think that too. I think that too. And I think that masked salesman came back to. I think he followed the hero of time, Link, who left Termia from Majora's Mask. I think he followed him out of that realm and followed Link to the main timeline. Well, not the main timeline, but just Hyrule. That's why you see him there. Triforce, you know if you dyed your hair red, you look like Ganon. Shut up. Triforce Dragmire. It may just be a corpse, hair still grows. That's true. That's true. Do you think that the Golden Goddess are somewhat villains because they are truly like? That depends. Hold on, my wife is opening a bunch of chips. Let me get some, honey. Yes. No, baby, pull it. Mommy came and told me, baby, pull it. Just give me a few. All right, so, bro, where is Ganon the First? Ganon the First is in Ocarina of Time and every other Zelda game you see. That's all the same Ganons. Now, in Hyrule Historia, it is implied that Ganon has been destroyed like twice. The reason why I do not agree with Hyrule Historia is this, and I'm going to use the Avengers Endgame, right? The TriForce is literally like the Infinity Gems. At any time Ganon wins, it's over in all timelines, because the Infinity Gems gives them access to all time. The only reason why in Infinity War you defeat Ganon... Let's pause that for a second. We got another donation. Thank you, Royalty. Love the timeline vid. Keep up the great work. Hey, man, thank you. I appreciate it. And I appreciate everyone who drops a donation. You support the channel. And you also support my trip that I'm getting ready to go to Africa in August. But that's a whole nother stream we'll talk about. Let's stick to the Zelda. If Thanos keeps the Infinity Gauntlet for Endgame and never destroys the Infinity Gems, how would any of the Avengers be able to go back in time and stop Thanos? They wouldn't. The only reason why they were able to do that is because Thanos destroyed the Infinity Gems in that timeline, allowing them to go to another timeline to find a new set of Infinity Gems. So, the theory of the hero of time or Link dying to Ganon, well, if you die to Ganon and Ganon has the omnipotent power of the Triforce and he's omniscient in throughout all of time, then yeah, Ganon rules all throughout the universe and throughout all time. That's why Hyrule Historia doesn't make any sense. There can never be an era or a time where Link loses. Once Link loses, Ganon wins. All the timelines would be over. Ganon would have the Triforce. He'd appear in every other timeline and kill off every other Link, every other Zelda, since they're all independent and different. One only needs to look at Dragon Ball Super to see that's exactly what Merge Zamasu was going to do. He was going to become God in one timeline and just go through all the timelines and kill off everyone. So that's why Hyrule Historia makes no sense. In my timeline, Ganon never wins. He's always thwarted, always sealed. Yeah, but he was killed in Wind Waker when he stabbed the sword in his head. No, he didn't. Link just used the Master Sword to seal Demise in Ganon's body. That sword eventually gets pulled, and then Demise is back out. What about Twilight Princess? Same thing. Seal Demise in Ganon's body. What's the theme here? Ganon is always being sealed in Dragmire's body, even in Breath of the Wild 2. Which clearly, this is being implied here. That Calamity Ganon they used Dragmire's body, whether this is the first Dragmire or a new Dragmire. They're using the Dragmire to seal Demise. Or at least put him in a body. Alright. Wasn't Breath of the Wild always at the end of the Hyrule Historia? Enuma confirmed this, I believe. Eric, can you confirm that? Because if he put Breath of the Wild at the end of the Hyrule Historia timeline, that's good. Because at least he did. Then that's the one. Consistent thing we all can agree on. Breath of the Wild is a, huh?
We are releasing a revisited version of the timeline where they place Breath of the Wild at the end.
Triforce is the man.
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm the man.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am. Because when I did my timeline, I put Breath of the Wild at the very end. It's 10,000 years after the legend is over. And now Nintendo is going to redo a new timeline, and they're going to put Breath of the Wild at the end.
Well, they're not making a new one. They're just getting the already made timeline and then placing Breath of the Wild at the end of it.
They're going to...
Basically, what they're implying is no matter what happens in the other timelines, it all comes down to Breath of the Wild.
Which is what TriForce has been saying in the TriForce Historia.
Yeah.
See, look. Hyrule Historia was written by men in Hyrule. TriForce Historia was written by a god. So, which one you want to take as the truth of the Legend of Zelda lore?
I don't know. I'm feeling like a peasant today.
Oh, okay.
Where's the picture of Triforce with the first dynasty and he's sitting on a lawn chair?
As we're speaking, I have an art book open of Breath of the Wild. So
this is your god. It's the first dynasty standing around the emperor, and the emperor's throne is a fucking lawn chair.
So, Elliot says Breath of the Wild is the inevitable outcome of all three timelines. I don't see how that's even possible, but whatever. You know what I should ask Nintendo? Can they put my timeline in Hyrule Historia? And just say there was a fourth timeline. And that timeline is when all the games link together. So you have the three different timelines where they all have their independent end, and then there's one streamline. I'll take your timeline, Triforce. Thank you, Eric.
I only like your timeline because it's the more entertaining one.
And it has less plot holes.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just the idea of Ganondorf, Zelda, and Link. Like the idea of Ganondorf at one point just being a normal guy, and then being possessed by like something he didn't want to be possessed by. Just like I just love that. It's so entertaining. It's so bitter.
No, Pika Sage. This is not a different. It's not a different timeline for Breath of the Wild. It's definitely not a different timeline. So, you know, I could always run. Should I just run the video?
Yeah.
I should run the video of the original timeline in this video, but then that would defeat the purpose of the people going back to that. Nah, I'll just leave it at that. So, let me get some questions from you guys real quick. I want to get everyone's in the YouTube chat. Give me some questions, guys. Give me your thoughts and stuff like that. I'll spend the next 15 minutes reading you guys' thoughts, and then we'll call it a day, because I got other work I got to do. So I got to get back to some other work. But I definitely wanted to take the time off to go over this theory, as I think this is Ganon Dragmire the second, the descendant of the original Dragmire. That this is a different Ganon who helped Zelda 10,000 years before 10,000 years ago in Breath of the Wild. And that, like I said, that's not the Zelda that you see in Breath of the Wild. That's not the same Zelda that this Ganondorf helped. It's a different Zelda, because the Zelda that you see in Breath of the Wild is only 117 years old. But there's a 10,000 year time skip from the end of the legend. So when Cass is talking about the legend of the Hylia goddess and the hero who came, she's not talking about the Princess Zelda you see in the game now. It's a different Zelda. All right, so let's take a look. Elliot, Triforce, look at the history section. Nah, I can't look at the history section. It doesn't say Triforce.com. It says Zelda.com. This was written by Hylanians, which is all wrong. They're not using my timeline. So because they're not using my timeline, the story is just completely incorrect. So yeah. Let's see something. There's already a Ganondorf 2. How do they get descendants? So where did Ganondorf Dragmire 2 come from? Or did I miss it? No, okay, so Slam Jam, what I'm thinking here is that when Ganondorf Dragmire 1 died in Zelda 1, when his body was physically destroyed and turned to ash, and Mito couldn't get Link's blood on the Thunderbird to revive Ganon's body, and so Dragmire 1 was dead. Every 1,000 or 10,000 years, depending on which number is accurate, the Gyarados has a male that's born. And what I think is, which would be cool, would be this would be the descendant, a newborn king of the Gyarados, which is Ganondorf Dragmire the Second. This Ganondorf the Second was the one that helped Zelda, Hylia Goddess, defeat Calamity Ganon, aka Demise, aka the Triforce of Power, in the war, the Calamity War 10,000 years ago before Breath of the Wild, which is one of the ancient songs that Cass was singing. It wasn't Link. Link wasn't there. It could also be, right? We could be doing this wrong. What could have happened is this, right? Link was defeated. Right? Zelda had to save Link, put Link in the restoration chamber. Then Zelda went on to go fight Calamity Ganon on her own. So this is not 10,000 years ago. This is only 100 years ago. And when Zelda went to go fight Calamity Ganon on her own, Ganondorf Dragmire was there, and he helped her seal Ganon in the body. Perhaps the blood that Yo, I just thought of something. Can you imagine that when Link lost in that battle at Fort Hatano, someone collected Link's blood? The Yiga collected Link's blood. They went back. Someone in the Yiga, or throughout all that time, someone kept Ganon's ashes from Zelda 2. Someone kept his ashes all that time, got Link's descendants' blood from the battle at Hateno, put it on Ganon's body, and brought back Dragmire 1. And in the back, Dragmire 1, who's no longer corrupted by Demise, see what Demise is, saw how Demise corrupted him, how Demise used him to wreak havoc on Hyrule, and how Demise is trying to destroy everyone. That includes the Gyarados. And although Dragmire had corrupted ambitions, he's like, but you're trying to kill my people too. And says, and Ganon Dragmire becomes an anti-hero. So even though he was evil like Vegeta, when he sees what Dragmire or Demise, no, not Dragmire, or Demise or Calamity Ganon is doing, he looks back at all the sins he has committed to Hyrule and was like, yo, this is crazy. Like, he's going to destroy everything. Is this what happened? I just wanted to rule Hyrule. And then Zelda's like, exactly, but Demise corrupted your heart and corrupted your ambitions and changed you into destroying Hyrule. You were never going to rule Hyrule. Demise was going to use you to destroy it. And then Ganon now, Dragmire, is like, I have to atone for my sins. And he then picks up the Master Sword to help Zelda defeat Calamity Ganon, aka Demise. But when they find out that they cannot defeat Calamity Ganon, Dragmire says to Zelda, there's only one way to stop him. What? We'd have to seal him. But we can't seal him into what? Seal him into me. Yes, but will you be able to control him? They seal Calamity Ganon into Dragmire, but it's not good enough. But then it requires Zelda now to sacrifice herself. So it's really her and Ganon that's holding Demise back until Link is resurrected in the resurrection chamber in Breath of the Wild. So this is possibly 100 years ago. This would be ridiculous, B. The Yiga are descendants of Tingle. Stop it. Just behave yourself. And remember, no way, they took some of like a stupid. The reason why I would think that the Yiga would take some of Ganon's ashes is because the Yiga were originally the Sheikah. And the Sheikah, they know about the dark arts. Remember this. The Sheikah know well about the dark arts and the resurrection and all that other stuff. It would not surprise me if the Yiga got the original ashes of Ganon Dragmire's blood going all the way back to Zelda 2, The Adventures of Link. And then in the battle of Hanato, which Nintendo stopped playing these games. Since we gotta wait for late 2020 or early 2021 for the next Breath of the Wild, can we get the Battle of Hateno DLC for Breath of the Wild? Stop playing these games, Anuma. Stop playing these games, Miyamoto. Stop playing these games, Reggie. Oh, wait. Okay, you're not with Nintendo anymore. Stop playing these games, Bowser. Get to work. We need that DLC. Something's got to hold us over until 2020, late 2020, early 2021. Don't play these games with me, B. Come on. Hateno. Yes, sorry. But this could be events from Breath of the Wild 2 events. That would explain a lot. We never saw where the Calamity came out in Breath of the Wild. Possibly Dragmire. Yeah. Man, this game is gonna be so ridiculous. When I come back from Africa, I'm going back to Breath of the Wild. I'm gonna we gotta finish Breath of the Wild. I know I literally have not finished this game. But not now, we gotta finish this game. We definitely gotta finish this game. Alright guys, so how much time have we put into this so far? It's at 1:10. Let's do 5 minutes. Let's take some questions before we end the stream. All right, so finish. We need another discussion stream. In fact, we're gonna have another discussion stream. We have a bunch of excavation streams that we gotta do because I'm not done with Breath of the Wild by a long shot. We're gonna be excavating a lot of things in Breath of the Wild. In fact, in July, I definitely want to do a Zelda stream. I'm gonna do a stream where, based on some of the landscapes that you see in the Breath of the Wild sequels trailer, I want to see if we can find some of those places, like that big dungeon with the foot. It looks like it was you were heading into a lion's dungeon. I want to see if you can find that in the actual game. I think that dungeon is either. This is where I think that dungeon's actually found at. Do you know the area where oh my goodness, I wish I had the game on right now. I can't. It's that dungeon would only make sense. That dungeon would only make sense if it's in Typhlosion Woods. I think that dungeon would have to be in that, either in Typhlosion Woods or somewhere around that area in the wasteland area far off the side behind Death Mountain. Will Link use his motorcycle in Breath of the Wild 2? Who knows? I wonder how Demise has returned so quickly after being sealed, supposedly. Because the Triforce of Power, first of all, they can't. The power that they have now, you can't seal. That's why they created the Divine Beasts. The Divine Beasts' jobs were to literally permanently seal Demise. Demise is too powerful, B. He's the Triforce of Power. I really want to see the Masked Sailman return because we were never really given an explanation of what it really is. Yeah, that would actually be good. Do the other Ganons that control the beast contribute to this? What do you mean by that, Pika Sage? So Elliot, I see what you're saying, Triforce. That's what we see here. Could be the hero from the first attack of the Calamity Ganon. But this could also be the events of Zelda 2 Breath of the Wild, not 100 years ago. That's true. It could be its own standalone, for all we know. I just would like that if it had some type of connection to the ancient lore. That's what adds a lot of depth to the story. Lore is everything, man. If you look at Breath of the Wild, it has a lot of lore in it that refers to a lot of things about the old Zelda games. Not having the lore there, it doesn't cheapen the game, but it would make the game better. So I'm hoping Nintendo actually sees this. I'm gonna cut out a clip of this and just tweet it to Nintendo that I hope that's Ganon Dragmire II, the descendant of the original Dragmire, who's the new leader of the Gerudos, who tried to help Zelda save Hyrule. But I'll do a 1-minute piece on that altogether. So TriForce of Courage helps control power, right? Yes. It requires a certain level of courage to be able to maintain power, but it also requires wisdom to know how to use it. Oh, we got another donation. Whoa! $200. Royalty, thank you. Hype for more Breath of the Wild gameplay. Thank you, Royalty, for the $200 gold rupee donation. Oh, that's... I'm glad you guys enjoyed this. I'm really glad you guys enjoyed this. I think Sage is referring to the Blight Ganon and the Divine Beasts. Alright guys. Thank you guys for joining me in this 1 hour and 15-minute segment of our stream. Share this throughout all the Zelda communities. I don't want to make the stream too long. I just wanted people to get their thoughts on my theories and read some of you guys' thoughts as well on it, and just bust out a couple of what ifs. Because I wouldn't even call these theories, because we don't have much to work on. We'd have to wait till the game came out, and then we'd be able to work a theory around what is officially established. There's no way to create a theory based off of a trailer, because there's no context to the trailer. We can only infer, imply, or whatever you want to call it, based on these things. One thing we can say for sure is that is Ganondorf Dragmire. We just don't know if it's the original or a descendant. And I'm really hoping that it's a descendant, because it would give a lot of context and give a new side to Ganon by using a descendant rather than the original one or whatever. Or the Yiga ex-Sheik members held on to Ganon's ashes from the end of Zelda 2, The Adventures of Link, and during the fall of Link in the Eternal War, they sprinkled his blood on it and brought back Dragmire's original body, which then, like I said, saw what how Dragmire corrupted, no, not Dragmire, how Demise corrupted him and was going to use him to destroy even his own people, and he wanted to atone for his sins by helping Zelda fight back Demise, aka Calamity Ganon, etc., etc. Only the future will tell, and we have a whole year to 2 years to wait for that. So thank you guys for joining me on this entire segment on the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 sequels theory, on whether this or not this is Ganondorf Dragmire the first or second. I'll see you guys in the next stream. Later.